Hello, candle lovers! Thank you so much for tuning in to me today. My name is Greg, and this is all about candles. Happy Monday, everyone. I hope you've been enjoying the long weekend. I know I usually drop the weekly wax wrap-ups on Sunday. I just could not swing it this weekend, so here we are on a Monday. Better late than never. I finished burning a lot of really good candles this week. Actually, a lot of candles that really deserve like their own full-length dedicated review, but timing is an issue and I just couldn't get around to doing full-length reviews for all of these candles, but I do have full-length reviews out for some of them, so take a look at the description box below and I will link to the full-length reviews in case you want the whole story. In the weekly wax wrap-up, I just go through all the candles that I finished burning this week, talk really quickly about how they smelled, how they performed. After that, we do a little bit of candle company news, general candle chit chat, and let's just dive right into it. I finished up this cinnamon sugar coffee cake from Bath & Body Works. This was a brand new candle in the fall lineup this year, sort of the first wave of new fall candles that we saw from Bath & Body Works. I'm not a huge fan of the packaging on this one. I think the text box is a little bit busy here. I'm not sure what the stalks of wheat are all about. Well, I mean, I guess you need wheat to make flour and you need flour to make coffee cake. So I'll give them that. What I really liked about the candle is the lid. I think that this was a really pretty lid and a new lid that I don't think we've seen before on fall candles from BBW. But unfortunately, guys, I really did not like this one at all. Oof. However, if you do like the fragrance of this candle, I think that it was actually a really successful candle in a lot of ways. I just couldn't stand the smell. The scent notes on it are freshly baked coffee cake, cinnamon sugar crumble, and gooey caramel swirl. And oh, this one was really, really weird to me. And it smells quite different now than it did when I smelled it like on cold in the store when it was a brand new candle. This candle, the fragrance really changed quite significantly, I think, once it was being burned. It started to smell a little burned, and now even just smelling the last little bit of it on cold, there's sort of this weird kind of burnt, grody, kind of oily quality to the fragrance. In my full-length review of this candle, I mentioned that I was kind of disappointed that there wasn't really any coffee fragrance in this candle, and a couple of you mentioned, and a shout out to Leslie and a few others mentioned in the comment section that coffee cake isn't actually supposed to smell or taste like coffee cake. It's just a cake that's meant to be eaten with coffee. Fair point. You know, I will retract my statement that I'm disappointed in this candle because there was no coffee fragrance. However, I have had coffee cake before that's had coffee in it. You know, it's like, haven't you guys ever had that coffee cake where there's like swirls inside of the cake and the swirls have like a coffee flavor to it, like the dark swirls inside the cake? Isn't that coffee cake? Well, whatever, who cares? There really was coffee fragrance in this candle, but this is a weird one for me. First of all, the cinnamon note is a little odd. It's not quite full-blown like spicy red cinnamon, but it's definitely not a cinnamon note that I like. And the way that the cinnamon note in this candle just sort of projected and like permeated was really a bit of a turnoff for me, as well as the caramel note in here. It's a very like dark, rich, like sticky, ooey gooey caramel note. Reminds me a little bit of the caramel note in Caramel Drizzle, which is just not a fragrance I've ever really been able to get behind. And there's a weird sort of spiciness happening in this candle as well that I'm just not a huge fan of. And when this candle was burning, there were moments when I thought to myself, it smells a little bit like curry. Like, I swear I'm getting a spice in here that might be like cumin. And somebody else that burned this candle in my comment section said that they were getting a bit of a cumin vibe from it too. I am not saying that this candle smelled like curry. I'm just saying that some of the burns on it when it was getting really strong, and this was a strong candle, some of the burns on it with that sort of permeating spice kind of gave me like a little bit of an impression of curry. That's what I got from this. And man, this candle was strong. I probably have like one burn left on it, but I just couldn't do it anymore, you guys. I really couldn't. I got pretty sick of this one. I took it on the road with me and I tried to burn it in like a hotel room I was staying at with really low ceilings, and I was just like, no more, game over. I can't do it anymore. I'd say that in my more open area, this was like an 8 for strength and throw. Like, definitely had a presence to it that you could not escape. In the bedroom, this was getting up to like a 9. In my hotel room, it was like a 9. Like, this was just a little bit too much for me. And not only was the strength really up there, but this candle had some throw as well. Usually when I'm at home for the evening or whatever, if I'm really settled in, I'll usually have 3 candles burning at my place at any given time. 1 in the living room, 1 in the bedroom, 1 in the bathroom. And I just couldn't be burning any other candle if this candle was burning in any space, because it would creep out of the room and down the hall and really throughout my entire house. You know, I don't usually have a problem with candles in my different spaces interfering with each other. I do usually like set them up so they are like complementary fragrances, you know, so I don't have a rose garden in the living room and then a cinnamon sugar coffee cake in the bedroom. You know, like this is a candle that I was probably burning with other sort of rich gourmand type fragrances, and this candle just interfered. It just interfered with my living space. And after this candle was blown out, it really lingered as well. Like, it was just a permeating fragrance. And if I had liked the fragrance, I would have said that this was an extremely successful candle. And if you indeed do like this fragrance, I'd say this was a really good candle that I would recommend. I mean, I pretty much finished it off. I just couldn't do that last burn there. This candle never suffered from itty bitty wicks or teeny tiny flames. It was a really strong burner, really strong performer. No complaints on performance whatsoever. This was just not a fragrance for me, folks. Oof. Couldn't do it anymore, guys. This candle I liked a lot more. This is Vanilla Cafe from Bath & Body Works. We got sort of 2 vanilla flankers for the Vanilla Romance fragrance. We had Vanilla Ease, which was kind of like a floral vanilla, and this Vanilla Cafe. And I like all 3 of these vanillas quite a bit, actually. No complaints about the packaging on this one, aside from the fact we did get a pretty sloppy job with the wraparound label. And I also noticed that the heat of this candle kind of warped parts of the wraparound label, which is a little bit concerning, especially considering I never let Bath & Body Works candles burn for more than like 2.5 or 3 hours. So the fact that there was that much heat getting on the glass that it started to make the wraparound sort of like curl, a little bit scary. That is why you always want to be keeping a good close eye on your candles when you're burning them. The scent notes on Vanilla Cafe are smooth espresso, whipped vanilla, and toasted hazelnut. And I actually don't think there's a ton of coffee in this candle, in my opinion. There is definitely some, but I wouldn't say that it's like espresso, because to me, and it does say smooth espresso, but espresso to me signifies something pretty strong and dark and like a crunchy sort of cafe fragrance, whereas this to me is more like a light or maybe a medium roast. You know what I'm saying? Like, I actually think that there is a more pronounced caramel note in this fragrance and a ton of vanilla with a little bit of nuttiness at the bottom. Smooth espresso, whipped vanilla, toasted hazelnut. Overall, I thought it was well balanced and I liked the fragrance, and this candle performed pretty well too. It was a really beautiful clean burn all the way down to the bottom there. That wax still looks really nice and clean, no sooting. It never dudded out, never gave me itty bitty wicks. In fact, this was a pretty powerful burner. I feel like I had to keep a pretty close eye on it and limit those burn times to like 2 hours maximum. I thought that the strength and throw was a touch inconsistent, obviously, like depending on the space that it was in, and I put this candle in a lot of spaces actually, but I mean, I would say that this ranged from like a 5.5 in a more open space with smaller burns to like, it probably got up to a 7 in like the bedroom and in the hotel that I was staying at. This actually got quite strong. So that's a pretty inconsistent like strength and throw situation. From a 5.5 to a 7, I'd say that it probably averaged out around a 6 or a 6.5. But what I'm saying is that in smaller spaces, like really good deep burns definitely got nice and strong. But the first couple of burns in my more open area were like 5.5 or so. Overall, I was happy with the strength and throw. It always had a presence. You could always tell that it was there. It wasn't like completely, totally weak ever. It was always detectable, and so I enjoyed it. Yeah. I don't know if this will be a repurchase for me. Perhaps, maybe. Would I recommend this? Yeah, if you like vanilla, coffee, caramel fragrances. It was a beautiful burn, decent strength and throw. I have no reason not to recommend that one. I also finished off Sunlit Trails from Bath & Body Works. Once again, in this sort of first wave of fall candles, we had a big like camping moment with 2 of the fall candle collections. Lots of sort of camping imagery and camping themes and whatnot. I'd say that this was my favorite candle out of this first like wave of fall candles. I really like this one. The scent notes on it are fir branches, bright citrus, and golden sun rays. And this is a very balsamy, piney, kind of Christmas tree-ish, really foresty fragrance. I do take issue a little bit with the scent notes and like the naming, the concept of the fragrance being like Sunlit Trails. I don't really pick up that much on citrus in here, or really at all. I do have a full-length review out for this candle, and someone in my comment section said they definitely picked up on the citrus in this. You know, fragrance is so subjective, guys. I'm really not getting citrus. I'm getting a lot of pine, a lot of balsam, and in the base of it, something a little bit funkier and kind of interesting, something a little mossy, a little bit damp, maybe some vetiver. Kind of makes me think of like the floor of a forest. And to me, this isn't like a really sunny, bright, warm forest either. It's like a very like dense, like slightly damp forest. You know, not like full-blown like spooky Halloween forest type of vibes, but just a really sort of nice, natural, light, crisp forest. And I really, really like it. It reminds me quite a bit of 2 other candles from BBW that I enjoy. Evergreen and Fir, which came out in the Neutrals line on Candle Day. And also Fall Forest, which came out either last fall or the fall before. I really loved this Fall Forest candle, and this reminds me quite a bit of that one. Although I think this was a brand new fragrance. I don't think it was an exact repackage of either of those candles. Yeah, I really liked it, and it performed really well too. I burned it all the way down until there was nothing left. As you can see, I did let this candle burn all the way down and like extinguish itself, and so the reason why it got a little dark and swirly at the end there is just because I let that last burn go off way, way, way longer than I should have. That was definitely my fault. I'd say that the strength and throw on this was pretty good. In my more open area, probably like a 5.5 5, maybe a 6.5 in a bedroom or in a smaller space. So yeah, no real complaints about the strength and throw. I think I might repurchase this one, and I don't have a problem recommending it to you either. I really enjoyed it. I went through quite a few sort of like sea breeze aquatic candles. Some of my favorite candles to burn in summertime, especially towards the end of the summertime, are like, you know, oceanic, briny, aquatic fragrances, and I finished quite a few of those up. We'll start off with Sea Salt Caribbean from Bath & Body Works. This was a brand new fragrance that came out in the Tropical collection this year, back in January, I think. This was the only like new tropical candle from BBW this year that I got super excited about. I really, really enjoyed this candle. The scent notes on it are salted driftwood, lime, and ocean breeze. And this candle isn't like super unique or anything like that, but as I said, this is just the type of candle that is right up my alley, especially at this time of year. There's definitely like a woodsy vibe to it. I'd say that the top note is sort of that airy, saltwater, like briny, aquatic note. And then in the middle, you're getting some of that wood, sort of like a salty, kind of like driftwoody note. And the scent notes say lime. I do think that there is a little bit of like a vague citrusy note in this fragrance, but it's not overly citrusy by any means. It actually reminded me a little bit of the Ariel candle from the Disney Princess collection. However, that Ariel candle had quite a bit of lime in it. This candle is much more focused on like the sea salt and the driftwood notes. And I really, really, really liked it. And also, this candle performed really well. This is the second time that I burned it, and I have 2 more in my collection because I liked this candle so much. I burned it all the way down until it extinguished itself. Really nice, clean burn. No soot marks, no messy wax, no nothing. I mean, this candle burned beautifully both times that I burned it, and the strength and throw was pretty impressive for a candle like this. I'd say it was like a 6 in my more open space and easily a 7 in a bedroom or in a smaller, more closed in area. I really, really liked this one, and this will absolutely be a repurchase for me and a recommendation for you. Like I said, I thought that this was stock up worthy. I have quite a few sitting in the candle closet that I'll be holding on to burn next summer. Really great candle, really fabulous fragrance. This might be my favorite fragrance out of all of the candles I finished burning this week, though. This candle was spectacular in every way. This is Ocean Blooms from Goose Creek. And man, I really regret not doing a full-length review for this candle. I think it really deserved one. You know what? What the heck? Maybe I'll put out a full-length review for this candle this week because I just thought this was fabulous. You know what this candle reminded me a little bit of was the Black History Month collection had a candle called You, Me, and the Sea in it, which was a really lovely sort of floral aquatic fragrance. I wouldn't say the candles don't smell the same exactly, and it doesn't smell like this was supposed to be a dupe of it either, but it's a very, very similar vibe, like a salty, oceanic, floral. Oh man, I love candles like this. And this Ocean Blooms from Goose Creek, I stocked up on this one as well. Next summer, I'm gonna have so many backups of my Ocean Bloom and my Sea Salt Caribbean to go through. I'm gonna be so happy when I see that I've got a bunch of backups in my stash. Okay, so the scent notes on Ocean Blooms are white jasmine, beach flowers, and sweet dune grass. I think it's a little odd that it doesn't mention sort of the aquatic brininess that's happening in this candle. I think there's definitely a little bergamot in there, and also kind of a salty, aldehydic, airy, aquatic quality, and that's just not listed in here. The scent notes here are really, focusing on the floral and the greenery of it all, and there is a lovely amount of perfectly balanced, like, floral and lush grassiness happening in this fragrance. Oh my god, I love this one so much. I love this candle so much. I'd say that the top note is that salty, briny, aldehydic quality, and there is a good amount of saltiness. It's not as salty as sea salt Caribbean, but definitely that sort of ocean waters vibe. And then the main component of this fragrance, the middle section of it, is very, very floral. It's like a nice sort of soft white floral. I'm not sure I would necessarily pick out jasmine without reading the scent notes on here. It says white jasmine and beach flowers. It does come across as a little bit more of a generic white floral, and if I were to guess without reading the bottom, I'd actually say that there is some water lily in here as well. The floral quality of this candle reminds me a little bit of Coastal Water Lily from Homeworks. Oh, that might be my favorite Homeworks candle. Definitely my favorite, like, aquatic floral Homeworks candle for sure. This has a very sort of similar vibe to it. Just that excellent, like, really great, like, seawater floral note, and I just love it. And then in the base of it, there is a very good amount of, like, a lush sort of green vibe, almost to the point where it's giving me like a bamboo moment, not super funky, like not as funky as something like Fresh Bamboo from Bath and Body Works, but it is like a significantly pronounced green lushness in the base of the fragrance, and it's just expertly balanced. You've got that lush greenery, the beautiful floral, and then the airy sort of salty oceanic quality. And the other thing about this candle too is that the packaging just perfectly fits the vibe of this candle. And when it's burning, it just looks beautiful. There's sort of this lovely, like, ocean kind of painterly illustration with like water splashes up here. And the way that this candle looks when it was burning is just spectacular. I mean, this candle is honestly like a 10 out of 10 for me. I think this is one of the best candles that I burned all summer, and it performed really well also. I burned it all the way down to the bottom. Look at how clean that wax is. Look at how clean that wax is. No sooting, no discoloration, no issues with cleanliness. To have the end of a Goose Creek candle burned all the way down till there's nothing left, to have the last little bit of wax in here still be so clean, it's one of the cleanest burning candles that I've had from Goose Creek. And the strength and throw on this was really good too. This was easily like a 6.5 in my more open space. It smelled so natural. Oh, I love this one so much. I didn't want it to end. I'm so glad that I have backups. Yeah, a 6.5 in my more open space, and definitely getting to like a 7 or a 7.5 in a bedroom for me. Fabulous performance, fabulous burn, fabulous fragrance, no complaints. 10 out of 10 for Ocean Blooms from Goose Creek. I think that this was a new candle to me this summer. I think this was my favorite new candle this summer by far. I absolutely loved it. And this was also another really successful candle in a sort of similar vein from Goose Creek. This one wasn't quite as good. It doesn't have the floral component, but I really enjoyed Cliffside Sea Spray, and I love the packaging on this candle. I thought that this tropical collection was just excellent. I think out of all of the tropical candles in this collection, this one is my favorite when it comes to the packaging. But of course, it is very up my alley. The blues, the aquatic vibes, just love it. And the scent notes on Cliffside Sea Spray are saltwater shores, fresh ocean air, and seaside citrus. And the sort of the aldehydic, briny, airy, aquatic vibe of this candle. It is a similar like accord as you get in Ocean Blooms, but this doesn't have a floral component. Instead, it has sort of a bright and citrusy component to it. It's got that saltiness, the brininess, the airiness, but instead of being balanced out with a floral, this is balanced out with a really nice citrus. I think there's definitely bergamot and lime in here. Yeah, it's really, really nice. And the citrus is actually like kind of the main component, I think, of this fragrance. Like maybe the saltiness. There is definitely like a fairly pronounced salty oceanic quality in here, but then you've got quite a bit of citrus as well, like a fair bit of citrus. More citrus than Sea Salt Caribbean, more citrus than that Ariel candle even. It's really nice. It really smells like Cliffside sea spray, you know? It's not super complex or nuanced, but it is nicely balanced, and I really enjoyed this candle. I burned it all the way down till there was nothing left. A fairly clean burn for a Goose Creek candle. No complaints about that. Never caught it sooting. It was never giving me like itty bitty wicks or teeny tiny flames. In my more open space, I'd say that this was probably a 6 for strength and throw, and in the bedroom, it was getting to around like a 6.5 or a 7. No real complaints. I think I would repurchase this candle, and I think I would recommend it to you as well. I mean, it's hard for me to like really praise this candle the way that I might, coming on the heels of Ocean Blooms, and I was kind of burning these candles around the same time, and so this one was really overshadowed by the Ocean Blooms, but I liked them both tremendously. And then I finished this Beach House from Goose Creek, and this isn't from this summer. I believe that this Beach House candle, this came out last summer. I can't remember whether or not we saw it this summer in different packaging. If we did, I passed on it because I still had one left over from last summer. I think the packaging on this is nice, nothing to write home about, but definitely pleasant and kind of fits the mood of the candle. The scent notes on Beach House are bergamot, apricot, lemon, beach blooms, and driftwood. Quite a bit happening there, and there is quite a bit happening in this fragrance. Predominantly, this is a fruity fragrance. To me, the main component of this fragrance is a fairly pronounced stone fruit vibe. And yeah, it's apricot is what the scent notes say. Not only do I get apricot from this though, but I also get like a fair bit of melon. And I think specifically I'd say it's a honeydew melon. The bergamot, there is just a teeny bit of citrus in here, but mainly this is a very fruity fragrance with a little bit, there's like a watery aquatic vibe to this, but not in a salty way. This candle doesn't have a salty component at all. It's really quite like a soft fragrance. Floral, fruity. I could picture this being like a body care from Bath and Body Works. And the driftwood note is very, very light. In the base of the fragrance, there's just a very, very touch of like a woodsy note. But for the most part, this is like a stone fruit floral, and it's really nicely balanced. It is quite sweet without being overly sweet. It's got a sort of really nice, authentic, like stone fruit sweetness to it. Like a watery sweetness, you know? Yeah, I really, really like this candle. I think it smells fabulous even after I've finished burning the whole thing. And I burned this baby all the way down till there was nothing left. A pretty nice, clean performance from a Goose Creek 3-wick candle. I don't have any complaints about it. It performed nicely from top to bottom. It was never dudding out or giving me itty bitty wicks and teeny tiny flames. And the strength and throw was good on this one too. I'd say it was like a 6.5 in my more open space. and a 7 or a 7.5 in the bedroom. Really, I don't have any complaints about this one. I thought it was quite lovely. I would repurchase this and I would recommend it to you, my friends. Beach House, Goose Creek, really enjoyed that one. Pretty successful week for candles, guys. You know, aside from this cinnamon sugar coffee cake, I really enjoyed all of the candles that I finished burning this week. Let's get into some candle company news. Gotta talk a little bit about Bath and Body Works because we did get the Disney villains collaboration. We've got two Disney villains, the Evil Queen from Snow White and Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty. The full launch hasn't happened yet, but they gave all of the Bath and Body Works members like an online preview, so you could order things early if you wanted to. I think they only released, don't quote me on the exact numbers, I think they only released about 16 of the products, and there's going to be somewhere around 35 to 40 products, I believe, in the full lineup. So they didn't even release half of them, but they did release the main stuff, like the 3-wick candles and the body care. The vibe that I was getting online, like just in general, I think a lot of us were experiencing some sticker shock, right? I think we were all a little bit taken aback by the prices. They weren't giving us any sort of a deal whatsoever for this online sneak peek. And you guys know the only thing that I'm interested in is the candles. More so the Maleficent candle, because that Maleficent candle is supposed to be like a woodsy, like a dark woodsy plum fragrance, whereas the Evil Queen fragrance sounds like it's gonna be something apple, which is really not my thing. I passed on participating in this like online exclusive members early order BS. I just don't care that much because the 2 3-wick candles are $43 up here in Canada, and I don't think I'm gonna be paying $43 for either of those candles, and I don't know if we're gonna get a sale on them either, because what would the sale be? You know, whenever they do candle sales now, they always say that they're excluding anything that has a price point like above the $30 mark. Like those are never included anymore in the candle sales. And so I'm really wondering if I'm gonna bother trying either of them, because I shelled out quite a bit of money for some Halloween stuff already this year at Bath and Body Works, and I'm not super invested in either of these candles, although they do look really cool. Of course, the lids are really cool and like holographic and whatnot. Not trying to rain on anybody's parade here, but I'm just like, meh. I will only be purchasing these 2 candles if I can get them around $20. If there's some sort of a sale that happens, or maybe they give us 50% off of the Disney villain stuff at some point, kind of like they do with Halloween, then I could picture myself giving the candles a try, but I just don't think that I'm just not interested enough to be spending that kind of money, and I feel like a lot of people kind of felt the same way. I think we're gonna be waiting for most of this stuff to get some sort of a sale, you know, even if they include, for the people that are interested in the body care, even if they do, like if they include it in like a buy 3 get 3, I can picture a lot more people being down for that. But when it comes to talking about all these prices and equalizer sales and stuff like that, there was quite a bit of information that leaked on Bath and Body Works' second quarter earnings call. And my source for this information is an Instagram account called Bath and Body Bro. He's really great on Instagram, and he always gets the steaming hot tea. And I don't know how he gets information from these quarterly earning calls, but he posted quite a bit about it. And I think the thing that stood out to us the most is that there was mention that Bath and Body Works is deciding that they are going to be stepping away from relying as much on promotions and on sale price points as they have ever since they've really started as a company. You know, I feel like Bath and Body Works' sort of marketing strategy has always been that they market more to the customers that they already have than they do to sort of, you know, the general public. You know, like it's pretty rare that you see Bath and Body Works like with big commercials during big moments on television and having big ad spots on like streaming and stuff like that. Bath and Body Works' strategy has always really been to market promotions to the customers that they already have. And to hear that they're gonna be relying less on promotional sales and apparently making more of a concerted effort to convince us that the value is really there in their products. That was also mentioned apparently in this call, that they're gonna be doing more to convince us that their candles are worth $43. And I'm not sure how that's gonna go over. If I were to hazard a guess at what this means, for example, I'm guessing that we might not see a candle sale every weekend, but we might see a candle sale 1 or 2 weekends a month. Do you know what I mean? Like some candle sales are better than others, but for a while now, it's pretty consistent that candles go on sale every single weekend. Well, what I'm kind of taking this to mean is that we might only see candles getting a sale price point like once or twice a month on the weekends. You know, that if I had to hazard a guess at what I'm sort of reading between the lines here, it's that. It sounds like they're planning on kind of simplifying the store experience a little bit more and really training the employees to focus on selling us the value of their products. I'm not sure how that's gonna go down. I mean, there is already quite a bit of outcry about this that I have seen, but the bottom line is, you guys, is that Bath and Body Works is just gonna keep getting more and more and more expensive. That's the only way that a company can stay alive right now in these times. And there was a mention on this call about the impact that tariffs are having, and apparently a lot of products are made in China. Mostly, I'm assuming the accessories, purses, coin bags, wallflowers, things like that. They get made in China. And also apparently a lot of stuff gets made in Canada for the American stores as well. And so I'm sure that the economics and the politics of it all are also going to be playing a big part in hiking up those price increases. You know, I don't really get my knickers in a twist every time prices go up at Bath and Body Works, because that's just the way the world is working and it is inflation. But I will say that, you know, we are starting to see some pretty staggering price points, to the point where I'm saying I don't even think I'm gonna get these like Disney villain candles, you know? And just like anything else, you guys, if you have a problem with it, the best thing that you can do is vote with your dollar and not buy something. You know what I mean? And Bath and Body Works, everything's just gonna keep getting more expensive. And I think we all just kind of have to resign ourselves to that very, very sad fact. Another interesting thing that came up on this Q2 call was that apparently now the Disney partnership is going to be a multi-year deal. So that means that we could see more Disney stuff happening this year, and we're gonna see more Disney stuff happening next year as well. Maybe we'll have a whole new like Disney princess collection come out in the spring or the summer. It sounds like this is gonna keep going, but let me say that all of this I think we need to take with a grain of salt, you know, because I also believe that at one point there was leaked information from one of these quarterly calls, and that information was that the Disney collaboration is completely over and will not be happening again, and that the Disney princess collab, that was the end of it, you know? So all of this information, take it with a bit of a grain of salt, because things have been said that have been said on these calls before that have then turned out to be not true. And, you know, none of us are actually sitting up in the office there and getting the full tea straight from the horse's mouth. So this is a lot of conjecture at this point. Over on the Goose Creek website, more fall candles, more new fall collections that I'm not particularly interested in. This new big fall collection is a lot of Gourmands. In fact, it's all Gourmands. Some of the new fall candles are cranberry shortbread, apple cheesecake cupcake, which oddly enough, I really like that candle. That apple cheesecake cupcake candle, just something about it hits the spot for me. Anyways, cranberry shortbread, apple cheesecake cupcake, warm snickerdoodle. Now, Goose Creek's warm snickerdoodle is quite similar to Bath and Body Works' warm snickerdoodle, except Goose Creek's is stronger. Bake Shop pastries. What else do we have here? Sweet banana bread, melted butterscotch, salted caramel cupcake, bourbon pecan tart. None of that stuff is really appealing to me too much, except for that apple cheesecake cupcake, but I already have a few of those in my collection. What I am surprised about is that at this point, it doesn't look like we're gonna get another Halloween collection from Goose Creek. And I'm pretty happy with the Halloween collections that they did put out. They put out 2 Halloween collections, and I got several candles from both of them. And they put out a Scooby-Doo collab Halloween collection. And I mean, that's a decent amount of Halloween stuff, but I'm a little bit surprised that we're not getting more. And I feel like last year we got a lot more. I'm still wondering if we might not see one more Halloween collection drop, but every week that goes by that we just see a new fall collection and not a new Halloween collection is just leading me to believe that that might be all we're getting for Halloween this year from Goose Creek, which isn't terrible, but I'd say a little underwhelming, especially considering how amazing I thought Halloween was last year for Goose Creek. However, last year they did the Beetlejuice collab, which is something that really resonated with me a lot more than Scooby-Doo collab. So a lot of this disappointment is probably just like my perception of things. I know a lot of people have been reviewing those Scooby-Doo candles and really love them, just not for me. Yankee Candle finally went full swing Halloween. If you look on their website, they have a bunch of Halloween stuff up now. Mostly it's all in the 2-wick tumblers and in the big single-wick apothecary tumblers. Phantom Bookshop is here, which I think looks like a fragrance I might really enjoy. What are the scent notes on Phantom Bookshop? Zesty orange, vanilla parchment, and a mysterious bookshop. I might be interested in checking that one out. If you live in Canada, the best place to get Yankee candles right now is in Walmart. I'm probably gonna pop into a Walmart. Oh no, I'm not gonna be able to do it this week. I'll pop into a Yankee Candle at some point and see if they've got Halloween stuff in our Walmarts. Also, there is a Apothecary Potions, and to me this sounds like it might kind of be their version of like an enchanted candy potion. Top notes: raspberry, strawberry, green herbs, blackberry, black tea, jasmine are the middle notes. Base notes: praline and cedarwood. That one sounds interesting. I don't have a ton of experience with Yankee Candle's Halloween stuff because Yankee Candle wasn't available in Canada for so long. I know Banana Toffee is really popular and a fan favorite, and that has also come back. Mystic Toys, that is kind of an odd sounding one. The scent notes on Mystic Toys, the top notes are clove, bud, and beeswax. The middle notes are violet petals, dusty peony, and aged linen. And the base notes are patchouli, vanilla bean, and sandalwood. That sounds actually like something that I might really like. I'm not a huge fan of the packaging on these though. They just look a little bit juvenile. Especially considering that Mystic Toys actually sounds like it might be a fairly good, like more mature kind of fragrance. We've got spooky sweets, top notes, juniper berry, clove, marshmallow ghosts, middle notes, cocoa, black vanilla, maple sugar, base notes, cashmere, foamed amber, and hazelnut. That also sounds like something I might enjoy. I really recommend checking out Philly Candleman. Philly Candleman has quite a few of those Halloween candles and has been posting quite a bit about them. So check out his channel. That's all I've got for you today in terms of candle chat, my friends. This is usually when I would do the Sex and the City and Just Like That recap, but thank goodness that show was finally put out of its misery, and so was I. Although, I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling just a little bit of emptiness right now, not having that show to talk about. How has your long weekend been, you guys? I'm a day late posting this video. Please forgive me. I have just been on the road. I've been out of town so much for the last couple of months that when I got back, I really just needed to spend the weekend with my boyfriend. It's also Pride here in Calgary right now, and so I wanted to take him out, see our friends, find our tribe, spoil him a little bit. I really haven't had much time to spend with him for a while, so he was my main focus this weekend. And now on Monday, I'm sort of getting back into my routine and figuring things out. I am leaving town again tomorrow. I've got to go up to Edmonton. Gonna bring a couple of candles with me, so I'll probably post a couple reviews from the road. I do hope that at some point I'm gonna be able to get back into the consistency of this channel, but right now it's really just not realistic. I couldn't do a candle haul on Saturday. One, I just didn't have the time, and two, I didn't have any candles to haul because I'm never home anymore. Never home anymore. Anywho, thank you for bearing with me. I'm gonna be doing Edmonton this week and then Winnipeg, and then from Winnipeg I'm flying all the way to Vancouver because in Vancouver I'm going to the MARINA and the Diamonds concert with my friend Teddy. So, you know, I'm gonna be working hard and playing hard for the next 5 or 6 days. MARINA and the Diamonds is one of my favorite pop artists of all time, and I managed to snag us some front row seats to this concert, so I'm really excited for this weekend. I need this weekend to come really fast. I know it's still long weekend Monday right now, but Lord, I need to get through my meetings over the next 4 days, fly off to Vancouver on Saturday, and enjoy my MARINA and the Diamonds show. I think that's all I've got for you guys. Thank you for sticking with me through all of this. I really appreciate it, and I love you for watching. You can follow me on Instagram at allaboutcandles and email your burning questions to allaboutcandles@gmail.com. If you could hit me up with a like, comment, subscribe to my channel, that would mean the world to me. And until next time, my dear gorgeous and beautiful candle-loving friends, let's burn some candles and bitch about it. Thanks, you guys. Bye for now. Take care.